I don't actually think I would have opened Brunch if I hadn't worked there. I know it sounds weird, but like from that gave me a little bit of a spark of like, oh, maybe one day I'd like to have my own restaurant.
Right, Hamid, what we've started to do as part of the podcast now is I've written an introduction and I will read it to camera while you're sat there. And hopefully it doesn't make you too awkward while I'm saying things about you, but I'm going to read it down the barrel and then we'll get started.
As long as it's nothing bad.
It shouldn't be anything too bad. This week on JobsWorth, I'm joined by Hamid Oukili, an Essex-based businessman and one of the original founders of the Brunch Co, a brunch, breakfast, coffee and cocktail spot. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, based in the heart of Leigh-on-Sea. Thank you so much for coming in. I guess we've got to thank Abby for bringing us together too. And what's really lovely is that we've got a kind of network of previous guests that do the asking for us now. So I think I'd seen you in the run up to Christmas.
That's it, very briefly.
Seen Abby doing some content with you, and I left Brunch Co and just texted Abby and said, well, you've got Hamid, can you just ask if he'll come on the podcast?
Yeah, she asked me straight away.
Yeah, and thankfully you said yes. So thank you so much for taking up the evening, because I know you're incredibly busy. We're going to start with the opening tradition on the podcast, and it's the same question we ask all the guests when they come in. When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, what did I want to be? I guess I wanted to be a businessman. I just didn't know. I had no idea what. My dad used to run restaurants when I was super young. Funny story, I actually found the pictures of that original restaurant today, which I've never seen in my life, actually. My nan pulled out the pictures.
Oh, wow.
Which was quite interesting. But the majority of my life, my dad's been in business, and I guess, just kind of looking up to him, wanting to be like him and learning from him. Yeah, I wanted to be in a business. I just had no idea what that looked like, to be honest.
Yeah, because businessman means so much, doesn't it? And running a business, I mean, there's never-ending opportunity for you to do that in any way, shape or form. But just having that inspiration around you growing up, that's what kind of shaped that drive, it sounds like. Yeah, no,
definitely. It's I always grew up just really looking up to him. I had good men in my life, my uncle, family, and I never wanted to work for anyone, to be honest.
Nice. Okay. Where did you grow up?
I grew up, so I was actually born in Basildon for a year, and then I moved to Hadley, and then I moved to Marine Parade when I was about 5 or 6.
Okay. So you've been around this area for your entire life?
The whole time, yeah.
Okay, cool. What did you do before moving into hospitality? Because that's probably quite a broad question, and there might be a story to tell to get us there, but we could focus on school and education, and I've done that on previous episodes, but I'd really like to find out what you were doing before hospitality, if that's okay.
That's fine, yeah. So I probably won't be able to say everything because it's a long list, but
go for it.
So my first ever job was in Irma's when I was 15.
Yeah.
So I was in Irma's from 15 to 19 whilst I was at college, and that was... I don't actually think I would have opened Brunch if I hadn't worked there. I know it sounds weird, but like from that gave me a little bit of a spark of like, oh, maybe one day I'd like to have my own restaurant. But college didn't work out. So from Irma's, I went to work in the city. I was a bond broker for 5 years.
Okay.
And then once I finished that, believe it or not, I went into window sales.
Okay, yeah.
And I just couldn't stand getting on the train. I just felt like I was really trying to fit into something that just wasn't for me. So one of my good friends, Rob Foster Jones, he was like, look, I'm earning good money doing this. Do you want to give it a go? There's no salary, nothing. And did that. Did okay for that for about a year, then fell out of love with it, and then realised I wanted to do something that I enjoyed. So I got into personal training. So I was a personal trainer for about 2 years. I've trained since I was 14, so I thought that's the road I wanted to go down. And then towards the end of that, I realised that I didn't actually enjoy training people.
You enjoyed training yourself?
Yeah, it was just like, it started to become a chore, and you almost become like a therapist when you're a PT. And I was like, I just like to train, headphones on. That's kind of my thing. And then one of my longest friends, Dan Mead, we've been friends since I was about 22. I'm 37 now. And we just one day was like, look, we need to get into business with each other. Like, I think it was just, we were young, excited. And then we was like, right, let's get into properties. Started viewing properties, didn't know what we were doing. And that didn't work out. We kept on going through loads and loads of ideas. And then one day I was in Joe and the Juice. I think that was like in 2017. And then I just had like a little light bulb moment in Joe and the Juice, because before that time I was researching like I was really obsessed with like Australian brunch. I don't know if you know, but brunch originated over there. And from 2016 to 17, I would just spend all my time just researching all these brunch places. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'd love to do something like this, but I don't know where to start. And then when I went into Joe and the Juice, I was like, this place is cool. Like as soon as I walked in, the staff greeted me in this really cool way. And it was just, I've never been treated like that. And it just had really cool like hip hop music playing. And it just reminded me from my roots, from where my dad's from. I'm half Algerian, and we're really strong on like hospitality and looking after people. And it just really resonated with me. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do like an Australian brunch place with Joe and the Juice type of vibe, with my little hint of Algerian hospitality. So it just started from there, really.
Nice.
And then I literally rang Dan straight after. I was like, I've got this amazing idea. Let's do this. It was like, let's do it. Let's start looking for places. And I met my graphic designer mate literally the next day.
Wow. Okay.
And sat in a coffee shop overlooking the venue that I was going to get, but I didn't know.
Right.
Which is quite
so
interesting,
the original Brunch Co, you were sat opposite there looking at that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how it started.
Did Dan take much convincing on the back of that call, or had you kind of sown the seed and the friendship was that strong that when you had that business idea, he was like, yeah, I'm in?
I think whatever idea I would have come up with, we were just literally
hungry to do it.
Oh, I don't want to like slog my guts for the rest of my life. Like, we need to build a business together. You know, I think we'd had a million holidays to Ibiza, and whenever we'd got drunk, we'd be like, right, let's do this business, let's do that. And it just took, I think you could tell, like when I spoke to him, he could tell like from my excitement, because there's a lot of the time before we did this, he would always come round to mine and I'd cook him lunch. I used to cook these amazing pancakes by this Instagram guy called Matty Mattison. He used to make these I used to make them for him at home, these lamb burgers. So he knew like I was super like into my food. So when I kind of come up with the idea, it was like, right, let's just go for it.
Nice. What was your experience of being led and being managed by other people that made you, that really solidified it in your mind, I don't want to work for anyone else? Because you mentioned that earlier on, and that inspiration when you were younger, but you then went and had managers and you had bosses. So what was your experience of being managed that made you think,
so it's like, I don't think, apart from Irma's, I don't feel like I ever worked in like a proper normal job. So being a broker, for anyone that knows about it, is very much, you have a boss, but also you kind of make your own luck. Like, they give you a lot of leeway. So I felt like it wasn't like a normal job. But I think a couple of the moments that made me not want to have a boss was, firstly, I sat at my desk and worked out how much time I would spend on the train if I carried doing this job till I was 60, and it was 2.5 years. And I used to see the same. I used to get the train at 5:30 in the morning to get to my desk at 7:15, and the same people would stand at the same spot, wouldn't say hello. And, you know, I'd see guys in their 50s and their 60s, and I was like, oh, fucking hell, like, oh, really? Like,
not for me.
You know, it's like pissing down with rain at 5:30 in the morning. I enjoyed it. The job was okay. The money was good, but it just got to a point. And then I remember sitting next to this lovely Italian guy on my broken desk, and the heart of gold wouldn't hurt anyone. And our boss was an ex-Marine, and he asked him for 2 weeks off holiday with his family, and the boss completely humiliated him in front of the whole desk. Like, you know, this is a fully grown man. I was just like, you're a wanker. Like, and I was like, I'm never going to let anyone, I don't know. I just kind of like, when I eventually have my own family, I don't want anyone to tell me when I can and can't go on holiday. So I quit the next week, and he offered me another 15 grand to stay. And I was like, it's not about the money. I said, it's just not for me.
And how old were you when you had that realisation?
I was 24.
Yeah.
24. Yeah, 24.
A lot of people I speak to, it takes them a little bit longer to have that eureka moment where they realise that money is not the main driver and that you want autonomy. It all comes back to autonomy. I think, again, based on the number of conversations I've had, I've been in recruitment for 14 years, the people that are happiest tend to have more autonomy and more control over how they spend their own time. You don't have to set up your own business. but micromanagement and working for toxic managers is one of the quickest routes to feeling like you don't want to be working in that setup, or you need to change your relationship with work, which is what the podcast is all about. But you at 24, 25 seem to have had that realisation quite young. So that's a good thing.
And I think it wasn't... So it's funny, like in the broken world, I only kept contact with 2 people, and they're like really good, solid people. I still very close friends. My friend Aman, another guy called Danny Sam, like he's the guy that got me the job, and they were like proper people, like, and I would say they're not your traditional brokers. And as a whole, I looked at majority of brokers and I didn't want their life.
Right.
Like a lot of drinking, you know,
other stuff that goes along with drinking,
And I would look at people who are earning like 300-400 grand, and I was like, like they're taking the piss out of me for going to the gym when I should be apparently going out for drinking. I was like, well, mate, you're fat, overweight, your wife's left you. Like, your life doesn't really appeal to me. It's not to me. I can't be bought. Like the money isn't. If it means me potentially having a life like that, I'm not really interested.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that's a really good realisation. I think a lot of people get there later. So to have realised that at that point has obviously helped giving you the drive that you need to go on to do what you've then gone on to do. I have to ask, with the window sales, how close to white gold was that experience? Because all I have in my head now is most of the cast of In-Betweeners in white gold. But was it anything like that?
Very
quite accurate.
It's accurate.
But present
this day and age, probably nowhere near as bad, but it was a great company. Like, you know, I really, my direct bosses, they were great guys. You know, some people earned a lot of money doing that job, but for me, it just wasn't. I can't really get excited about expensive pieces of plastic. Like, you know, I remember quoting this job for an old lady, and I won't say what the company was, and I was like, I looked at the quote. I was like, I can't charge her that.
No.
And I was like, I looked at her, I was like, she reminded me of my nan.
Oh, no.
I was like, look, I'm going to be really honest with you. Like, I'm not going to give you this price. Like, at this point, I was already checked out of the job anyway. I said, look, contact this company. They'll do it for you much cheaper. And she ended up making me a cup of tea, and we sat there for like an hour having a chat. And then again, I handed in my notice for that job the next week as well. Because it was like, I wasn't getting, it cost me money to do the job because it was commission only.
Yeah,
so
right.
If you sold a lot, you get to a point. That's why I actually believe whatever you do, any job you do is sales. But I learned so much from broken and windows, like a lot.
I was going to say that because you're in those environments where you have to be a self-starter. Yeah. You have to make your own luck, as you say. You make your own mistakes and you pay for those mistakes as well. But sales and commission-driven environments do teach you a lot of lessons. And
they moulded me massively. Like I actually, every job I've had, I'm really thankful for. The window job, actually, I've probably learnt the most in that.
Okay.
Yeah, like you really have to learn. I think whatever job you're in is sales. It's sales and hospitality. It doesn't matter what it is, that's what you do. Like you're actually trying to sell a product. And that job taught me how to kind of be able to talk to anyone really, which you have to.
I remember, and now this memory is fully formed in my mind. When I started my own recruitment agency, I put a post up basically stating that recruitment is not sales, which you can imagine with the opinion you've got probably is, yes, it is. And now I've come around to the idea, I think everything, as you say, everything involves sales. Yeah. But the image I used was the guys from White Gold in that thing. And it was basically trying to go against the stereotypes and the negative stigma, the negative stereotypes around selling and sales type jobs. Yeah. But I've since come to respect the sales element of most jobs a hell of a lot more. Like you have to be, we're all out there to try and sell something. It's just the way you do it. And there's a lot of negative stereotypes around, maybe selling windows and recruitment and estate agents, whatever. But I think we're very frontline in the way it can be deemed sales.
Depends how you look at it. Like sales, it's like there's like this stigma of like, for example, me, after being a window salesman, I will never have a salesman come into my house ever. I just won't. I will not allow it. Yeah. But I think how you look at it, it's how you do the sale. Like I feel like a sale, you need hospitality. Like if you're hospitable and you can speak to someone, you can sell to someone without actually selling to them. That's the art of being a good salesman. Yeah. If you try to force a sale, you end up just pissing them off. So I find it a really interesting way because I use that in Brunch, but in a really natural, non-pushy way. And it's literally just about just human connection and how to kind of have a good conversation with someone.
I guess it becomes relational and not transactional.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So why Leigh? Obviously, apart from being based here, but you're sat in what was going to end up being I guess, what do we describe it as? Can we say it's the original Brunch Co location? Because then
the old one,
Yeah, the old one, yeah. So why that spot?
I think just because I've been in Leigh before it was popular. So I remember the day we moved here, like Del Boy's Barbers opposite Irma's, I was there the day he opened. So we're talking like 31 years ago. And so it's gone from like a retirement place to just becoming super popular. I mean, I remember eating out was never a thing until I left school. I think it started to become a little bit, eating out was just like probably more for wealthy people. And then middle class was like, oh, we just do it like every now and again. And you kind of start to see the transition. So I think my age group we just started going out all the time, actually don't know what it was, seeing other businesses do well. You probably know Sam Giles.
Yep.
He's got Toppers and Toast. I remember his first business was Creme. So you get inspiration from people and you see them open up a business. You're like, oh, wow, like it actually works. And then you want a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Which is still happening now. And that kind of, I reckon, I don't think there's many places in Essex that are like Leigh. And I'm not just saying it because I'm biased. I've been to a lot of places.
Yeah.
There isn't actually. It's the energy, the number of people, the footfall you get on the Broadway.
When the podcast used to be seasons before we just started going and going and going, season 2 was about that community in Leigh and me trying to find out what was so special about Leigh to mean that entrepreneurs and creatives and business owners kind of are inspired to kick off so much in this space.
Yeah.
And community, I think, came at the heart of it, and collaboration was another thing as well. It feels, and I'm sure this can't be the same for every single business, but it feels like people want to see other people succeed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's elements where you might be looking over the fence sometimes, not you specifically, but people that run businesses in Leigh going, why are they getting what I'm not getting in this moment in time? But for the most part, it feels like a very supportive community.
It is. That's what I love, is that there's no like big chains. And it is, and I'm not just saying it, like I think that the more places you've got open, the better, because it creates more traffic around the area.
Yeah.
Just because one day we might not be getting a particular customer up against someone else. I never look at it like, oh my God, why are they going there? Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, you know, if a customer leaves, there'll be someone else coming. Like, there's enough customers for everybody.
Yeah, we had Claire Jevons on, who owns Store 33 in 110 yards.
Okay.
So retail, she's had
Got some cool stuff in that shop.
Yeah, Store 33 she's had for 17 years. Is
oh, really?
Right, 17 years, yeah. And we were talking about her relationship with the lads at Local Merchants.
Yeah.
And when they set up shop, they made an effort to go in and speak to Claire and said, we're setting up the road. And they just wanted to make sure there was, I guess, clear the air and say, look, we're here and we're just out of a sign of respect, we want to say hello.
Yeah.
But her view is that you can't have too much in terms of independents coming in, because it means more footfall, it means more traffic into the area. So that can only be a positive thing. Human nature, though, and you see, I think I know your answer to this, there's so much competition for people's attention and money and where they're going to spend time for brunch, lunch, dinner. Is there part of you that looks over the fence sometimes, or have you been able to shut that out almost and acknowledge?
I think I've done a really good job by shutting it out.
Okay.
The only time I think I look is just to get an idea of what the market's doing. It's never from a place of like obsession or worry or anything like that. I think when we first opened, at the very start I was like that, but then after a month I was quickly like, right, this is just, it's distracting me. So I just, at one point I unfollowed everybody and I was just right, let's just focus on what we do. You know, you hear loads of hearsay, people saying certain things about you, like, why are you doing that or whatever. But I was like, you know, Dan would worry about it more than me. I was like, look, listen, at the end of the day, we just got to do our thing and focus on where we're going. The problem is if you focus too much on what others are doing, it tends to like take you off track a little bit. And I think you start acting a little bit more emotional, whereas you just need to just focus on what you're doing and that's it.
So when you started Brunch Co, it's 2018?
Yeah.
What was the mission when you started, and did you manage to keep on track, or how much did that change in the earlier days?
So I'll be honest, I'd never had I was just had an idea. I was like, right, let's just go for it. open up a cafe. It was just a cafe. That's all it was. It was 26 covers. And yeah, I just had this vision of this really fun, cool spot where people would come in and they can feel the energy. And, you know, we got amazing coffee. Like me personally, I don't think there was one single venue in Leigh that used professional photography on Instagram at that time. So that I was racing to get it open to be the first place. In my eyes, I was like, right, I want to be the first Instagrammable spot. Nobody was investing the money in photography. I was like, right, I want to be the first to do it and try and kind of set the lead. Try and set the tone, and we were the first place to do it. And I feel like, yeah, I just wanted to be a busy brunch spot. And then obviously things developed, realised that you couldn't make enough money without the alcohol, applied for the alcohol licence within 3 months. And then, so I guess the mission changed the longer we went on.
That it evolved, and I guess as you grow, you're adding different elements to it. As you say, you acknowledge there that maybe you couldn't make the money you needed to without the alcohol license. So then the brunch element, because in your mind, did brunch equate to boozy?
No. I mean, it's just lack of educating myself on the subject, really. Because I didn't know had no idea.
I think that's really refreshing to hear, though. Like the fact that you went in with it without a strategy or without a mission, and it evolved and grew organically. Yeah, I think that's the way I would have done it. Like I think who do we have on? So Alana Brown, who's just started this non-alcoholic cocktail business. Well. She admits that she was naive going into it, but if she knew everything that she had to know, there's a chance that she wouldn't have started the business in the first place.
I think that's true of everybody. Like, I think too many people try to be like, I don't know, try and get qualifications or whatever. Like, you just have to say fuck it and do it. Like, we've lost tons of money and made some really stupid mistakes. But, you know, my dad was in the business and he was like, right, son, these are the things you need to make sure you do all of these things. And obviously I was just young and cocky. I was like, you know, I'll do it my own way. And he was right on every single one. And then that cost us loads of money. But it was like, at the same time, because he said he was going to be by my side for the first 3 months. He was like, don't worry, I'm going to be with you and show you how to do it all. And the day we opened, he never turned up. Right. And I was like, shit, like, Dad's not here. I was like, is everyone ready? And then anyway, I thought, fuck it, we just opened anyway. And then it was the best fit. I think you can't have someone hold your hand. You actually have to, you can't be scared about losing money or making mistakes. Like, that is the only way you grow. Like that, there's no such thing as a business that it becomes successful without going through all the shit. I have people setting up business, go, okay, how do I do this? I'm like, look, I can tell you only a certain amount, but you have to just do it how I did it. And I can give you some ideas, but you just have to just go for it and just trial and error.
Was that a conscious thing from your dad, without going into it too much? Was it a conscious thing to not turn up, or was it a case of something else, or was that his lesson to you? That
it was a strategy for him, I think. It was he basically said to me when I got home that night, I was like, Dad, like, how comes you never turned up? I was like, it was mental, we were so busy. He was like, you didn't need me, son. It was just like, I saw you like training the staff, and I was like, you'll be fine. Nice. So okay. I'm happy he didn't come.
I'm sure in the moment maybe there was
I was nervous.
There were things going around your head,
there was these two ladies that came in. I remember it was March 17th, and it was 1:20. These two ladies walked in, and they were like, "Oh, are you open?" I was like, really fucking nervous, and I was like, "Oh, no." And then I saw they went to another coffee shop. I was like, "Fuck, that could have been our first two customers." And then we just went for it. Really,
that was it. No, I think. Yeah, knowing that was a kind of conscious strategy from your dad to be like, you've got this. Yeah. There is an element of sink or swim, isn't there? You have to, like, you're either going to have it, it's either going to succeed or it's going to fail, and you're going to learn from the failure. Yeah. Which again sounds like a real cliche thing to say, but I think there is truth in that. How involved were you when it came, because you said that you love food and you love cooking. Yeah. How involved were you when it came to creating the menu?
So I create the whole menu
for
when we opened, so everything. And like there's this, people use the word like originality like in this game, but I don't believe anyone is original, like no one. There's probably like a 0.1% of restaurants that are original. We all get inspiration from other places, which is fine. Like I just looked at, I had thousands and thousands of pictures of different foods and menu ideas, and I just kind of put it all together with my little twist. The the bravas eggs, for example, was my most popular dish. I wanted to turn a patatas bravas into a brunch dish, so I just knocked up this aioli, put 2 eggs on it, some pickled red onion to give it the colour, and then it's one of our best-selling dishes.
But you've not had any training. You haven't gone to cookery school. You haven't gone to any kind of chef college or anything like that. That is just your experience of the food that you eat and you enjoy, and the research or the kind of magpie mentality. Look at what's working on other menus or other food that you've experienced and put that in.
This is all stuff that I'd seen working in Australia.
Yeah.
And then just trying to put my little stamp on it. And I even remember the week before we opened, I tried out all the dishes on my own in the restaurant on my own with no one else there. They didn't come. I looked at the pictures now; they'd look terrible. But I think when you first start something, it's never going to be amazing. But I just knew this was something that wasn't on the Broadway, and I wanted to make sure. I think whatever you do, you got to try and make sure that there's something there that they can't get anywhere else.
Right. Okay.
That's always been one of our strongest selling points. I think, we do a full English; they can get that anywhere. But I know we've got probably 8 signature dishes that I know don't exist in any other restaurant.
Yeah, brilliant.
Which is why people choose to come to us, I think.
How did you find you've got your ID, you've got your hands in the nicest possible way all over the menu. It's something you've created. How do you find delegating that when you start to build a team? So you've got to hire chefs because you can't be in the kitchen at all times actually creating that. You've got to hire front of house. How did you find moving that control away from you that has come up with this idea, you and Dan are executing that, to then seeing other people run with it?
It takes a long time, because I think when I first opened, I did every job. So I was washing up out in the front, I was serving customers, I was doing the rota, I was doing the food shopping 7 days a week, I didn't actually delegate for the first 2 years, I don't think. It was just it was a bit of a shit show. I remember one of the days a customer waited an hour and a half for their food, and it's like, just because I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
But over time, gradually you start seeing little qualities in staff members, and they show you something, you go, oh, actually, they're capable of doing that. And then gradually, I don't think I had tell a lie, go back. Sorry, no, I did have a manager from the start.
Right.
But in terms of me trying to delegate, I just didn't. It was just complete chaos in my head. So she did a fantastic job at getting us food suppliers and all this type of thing, but I was doing the rota, and it's not until you go through all the mistakes that, I don't know, you go, okay, well, maybe this person can do that. It's a really slow process. And I'd say, you go through different staff members. We would go through stages where we went through a lot of staff, to a point now where we don't go out as low. We've got really low turnaround of staff. And it wasn't until, we've had a few managers, it wasn't until we had Elise, who we've got now, that I've really been able to trust the staff to just create on their own. Yeah. Because I give them the trust. And that's what I love. And this sounds cheesy, but I'm being honest, I don't just do this for money. I really enjoy creating something. I love having a team. Elise, for example, when she first started, she was just 1 shift a week. I've seen her grow, and now she's a full-blown manager for one of the busiest restaurants in the Broadway. And I was able, if staff show me that they're capable of something, I'll go, I'll tell you what, you come up with the ideas. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. We'll just change it quickly. Yeah. And I feel like me giving people creative control has really allowed our team to grow properly.
Do you think that's one of your strengths?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is hard for a lot of bosses to do that, I think.
Well, there's strengths. I think you can go into management because you're really good at the doing, and people then say, well, you've been here for a long time, you know the business, you know the operation side, let's put you into a management role. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can develop people, inspire people, have people want to work for you. Yeah. So I do think it's a special sort of person that wants to lead and wants to support the growth of their staff. Yeah. So acknowledging that that's a strength, I think, is a really important thing. I'm going to go on to ask some questions about your team, because I think out of most places in the Broadway, it's your team that I see the same faces anytime I go in. Yeah. Which I think is an amazing thing, to retain, not just find good people, but then to keep them working for you for as long as you have, shows that you must be doing something right. I want to go back and ask about that first 12 months of launching. So you've launched in 2018.
Yeah.
One of your first experiences is seeing two people go across to another coffee shop. What was the hardest lesson that you learned in the first 12 months of launching?
The first 12 months. Hardest lessons. Managing food cost, managing all your costs, which you can't actually learn until you do it anyway. Right. So you go into it and you think you budget, and it's amazing. You're taking all of this money. You're like, wow, oh my God, look how much money we took on the till, and then you've got no money in the bank, and you've still got to pay suppliers $5,000.
Yeah,
and it's like, unless you've got someone who's done it before. And also you don't know how busy your restaurant's going to be. So it's really hard to juggle that. It took us a long time to learn, setting money aside for all your payments and everything like that. It was just, for me, I didn't really take responsibility. I was like, Dan, right, you just do that. You focused on that. I didn't even have access to online banking for the first 2 years. And that's the trust that we've got. You know, I'll just ask to look at it every now and again. But yeah, I guess it's just managing costs, staff costs. It's hard to make money. It's really, really hard to make money.
Well, what you've also got not long after you launched is COVID, and how hard that hit hospitality. And I don't want to dwell on that too much, because I think we're nearly 6 years post-COVID now.
I still can't believe
which
that.
is crazy when you think of the impact it had for as long as it had. That's coming up to 6 years ago. But how did you cope with such a young business during lockdown?
Yeah, so COVID, believe it or not, was actually the making of our business.
Okay.
It was, so we shit ourselves for the first 6 weeks because we got like rent and staff or whatever. And my friend Will Fish, who owned Brunch Co at the time, he rang me up and he was like, mate, are you doing takeaway? I was like, no, I'm not opening. He was like, I'm making a fucking killing. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He went, you have to open for takeaway. I was like, yeah, but it's a bit risky, blah, blah, blah. He was like, mate, I'm telling you, just do it. You'll never regret it. And so we kind of done a U-turn. I think actually, sorry, before that, I think we were closed for 6 weeks total. And I think a few weeks in, I was like, I can't sit here and be silent. I need to do something. So I actually started doing a lot of videos. A lot of videos I actually cringe at now, but I was like,
start somewhere,
do you know what it was? I just didn't want people to forget about us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't just have our Instagram not doing anything. So I just started doing like shake videos. I think it's like recipes, and it really like exploded. Like I was like, wow, like we're getting all these new followers. So by the time we decided to open, we already had like all this traffic, and it was crazy. I think, yeah, I've never seen. I think because we were the only, I did my research, I couldn't find another brunch place open within Essex. Okay. And we had a queue down to Passers Inc.
Wow.
During COVID. And we couldn't cope with it a lot of the time, I think. So our normal Sunday, we would do like 180 covers, which when I say covers, it's like an individual plate of food. And I think the most we did was 365 portions of food in one day. We sold 200 cocktails in a day at £5 each.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was like, I think that put us on the map. So we had, when I was chatting to people were driving like 2 hours to get there. So
what
I think
a feeling though, especially, and look, not everyone came out the other side of the pandemic with their hospitality business intact, but to know that there was that support first off, but the brand that you've built was holding a place for people to then go and want to commit to queuing or doing online orders or however you were making that work, that you've got to be hugely proud of that. Just to have survived it, I think, coming out the other side with your business. I mean,
things did eventually get bad, but I think in terms of just the brand, forget money, but just the brand itself, I think me getting on camera and making the effort where people were scared and not doing anything, I think it just gave them a little bit of entertainment and a bit of trust, I think.
I mean, Abby Thomas, who we were discussing before we started recording, she's an incredible advocate for people getting in front of camera and just being human. And her brand really blew up around that time too, because it was such a shift towards people spending more time looking at social media. There wasn't much else to do. So if you were able to get there, embrace that, kind of beat that fear or overcome that, fear is a big word, but that anxiety or maybe a little bit of embarrassment.
It is anxiety,
jump on and start making something work for you. Okay. Do you mind talking about failure as well?
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't label it as that, but you, in 2021, you started Picante.
Yeah.
Picante's it doesn't exist anymore. So how did that feel? So you've got Brunch Co, which is your existing business, and that's got footfall and traffic, and it's looking after itself. Picante was a bigger space, which we should say is now where Picante is now the new home of Brunch Co. As of, when did you launch in that space?
Mid-April last year.
It hasn't been a year
Not
yet.
been a year, no.
But what was the difference between Picante and Brunch Co? I guess if you can go back and tell me what inspired you to set it up, and then why didn't that work?
I think I ran before I could walk with it. So we had the success from COVID. So we'd saved up some money. We got super ego. It was like, right, we've got one business. We thought it was doing well. We thought, because you see the money, but there wasn't much tracking and monitoring or anything like that. And we thought we wanted to set up another business. And the start of that story, actually, believe it or not, started the day we got the keys of Original Brunch. Because basically, I've always been a bit delusional when it comes to like believing in things. So I walked past. So it used to be Tui. Do you remember it as Tui?
No.
Right. It used to be Tui for about 20 odd years.
Right.
And the week we got the keys to 69, I walked past Tui and I said to Dan, that corner plot is fucking sick. And I was like, we're going to get it one day. I said, I don't know when, I don't know how we're going to do it. I was like, look, listen, we've only just got the first one. I was like, yeah, trust me, we'll get it. And then for years, I'd always think, how can we find out who owns it? For years, we always wanted to find out. And then Dan came to, he went, you never guess what? I heard that Tui is coming on the market. I was like, really? How do we find out? Like, Dan was like, leave it with me. And I think he went on Land Registry or Companies House, found out the company that owned it, just called up the director. And hello, we heard that this place is up for sale and we're interested. He said, oh yeah, my name's Dan, I've got the Brunch Co. And he went, oh, you know Hamid then? He was like, yeah, it's my business partner. Oh, Hamid's great. I went, I've been coming to Brunch Co for years, blah, blah, blah. He got off the phone. He was like, oh, he set up a meeting on the phone. He went, mate, he knows who you are. And he described it. And I was like, oh my fucking God, this guy, he came to Brunch the week we opened. And it'll never forget. So it was a Thursday and we were closing. And as he walked in, as we were closing, he went, oh, are you still open? And I went, the staff looked at me. I was like, no, we're open. So I opened for him and he had a turmeric latte and that's what he used to have every time. Yeah. And he used to come in at least every week, if not every 2 weeks. Right. And I'd have a really brief conversation with this guy. And this is why I've always believed in always make an effort with people. Anyway, fast forward, he had 2 other people offer him like a nice premium for it. And he said, I like you both. I've had a relationship with Hamid. He said, I want to give it to you guys. Wow. I was like, wow. Like, and with no premium. Yeah. No premium. Like, people offered him like a nice lump sum. Yeah. And I said, I feel like I've seen what you've done and I want to give you guys the opportunity. So that's how it started. That's incredible. And again, it's that relational thing, not transactional approach to doing business again. Yeah. Okay, so the stars have aligned. Yeah. A kind of forecast that you've made 3 years prior has now come to pass. You've got the keys for that space, which again, you were still in, and it's a Brunch Co. I think out of everywhere, just seems to be this brand that is thriving. Feels, maybe it's different inside the business, but it really feels like there's so much momentum for you now. With Picante, how when that did stop, when that did cease to exist, how did that affect you? What did you learn from that? I learned, so before I did that, my dad told me not to do Picante. So he said, don't do it, you're making a mistake. He went, put Brunch there. I was like, no, I'm doing it. And I think that's why I don't regret anything that I do. Like, I truly believe that your path is literally set out and whatever happens, no, whether it's good or bad, it's supposed to happen to you and you learn from it. And it's just taught me, we invested a lot of money into that. We had to borrow a lot of money that we couldn't afford to really repay back, but we started and we just had to finish the job. And I think we just tried to make it something. We tried to make it too bougie. Okay. I think. And the real one of the main reasons it didn't work is because my heart wasn't in it. Right. And I knew in myself it wasn't, but it was maybe my ego coming out thinking, right, I want to do this fantastic new business because it was exciting. But for the customers that know me from Brunch, they'll probably see that maybe my presence I wasn't given it the time.
Got you.
And I got to a point where I almost didn't like going in. I just didn't give it the time and attention.
Yeah.
And me personally, I think the best thing to make money in hospitality is not the bougie stuff, but the things that people can buy every day.
Right.
So with Brunch, we've got customers that come 7 days a week. We've got customers that come 5 days a week, 2 days, but you can have a coffee every day. You can have a sandwich every day. You can have a breakfast. It doesn't really break the bank.
Yeah.
But with Picante, it was like advertised as this high-end bougie place, and in all honesty, we didn't deliver on it, in my opinion. Some days the food was great, the other days the food was horrendous, and I'll admit that. But you have to try things.
Thank you for being so honest about it, because I think it's a sensitive thing to say, how did something fail? How has that left you feeling? Because you put energy into it. And it's maybe retrospectively that you realise that wasn't where my heart was. Is it safe to say that Brunch was more aligned with you and more of, you were doing that for you, whereas Picante you start to think, well, what might other people want to see? Is there an element of that?
Yeah, I thought it was what people wanted. Right. To be honest, I wasn't experienced enough to run that kind of business, to be really honest. Right. Like, I feel like brunches, don't get me wrong, you still have to give like a level of quality, but I feel like it's more like everyday food. It's not like when you're charging 35 quid for a dish, people expect a certain level of quality and consistency. Yeah. And I just, in all honesty, I don't have that type of experience in hospitality. And I just feel like, not the brunch is easier, I feel like it's a little bit more laid back.
I know what you mean.
You can kind of afford to sometimes, if something's not 100% perfect, it's not the end of the world. Like, that's kind of how I view it.
Does that mean that in the future something like that might not exist for you? Or have you got plans where you'd like to take another bite at something like that?
I'd never say never. We've 100% got plans for this year at some point. Can't say too much about what that is now.
That's fine.
But,
I was waiting for an exclusive, Hamid.
I get itchy feet. I like growing something. And we've got Brunch to a point now where, it's such a great feeling having a team of staff that grow it for you or come to me like, oh, look, let's do this and let's try it. The whole bar menu, I don't have anything to do with it. They just come to me, look, we've come up with this menu, which is a great feeling. So yeah, I'm excited to do something. Yeah. What that looks like, I don't know yet, but it will be something. Yeah.
I'm excited to see what it is, but I appreciate you need to keep some of that information under wraps as well. You're big on the experience that people have. You've spoken about it before, but the experience people have coming to Brunch Co. Yeah. And that the fact that also needs to be embraced by the staff that you've got. How did you find the staff that you've got, and how have you retained them? Because there is so much competition for similar types of skills in Leigh-on-Sea specifically. So how did you find them, and then how do you make sure they stay?
So when it comes to staff, like, I used to stress staff. I would lose sleep in the early days. I'd lose sleep if somebody left. I was like, oh, my world's falling apart, blah, blah, blah. But as we've grown, I truly believe you can create how you do your job and how you put yourself out there, that you can make the staff come to you. And that's kind of what I've done. I mean, I employ very much like Joe and the Juice employ. So that the original owner of that was a guy called Casper, and he would have people that go out and only look for people who were just cool and had good personalities. Right. I was like, oh, that's quite interesting. So I did the same. So like, if I saw someone come in and ask for a job, I know whether I'd employ them within like 30 seconds. Okay. Because personality is way more important than skill. Like, you could have a shit hot barista, but they could be like boring as fuck. And personality for me, I'd rather have someone with no experience that has exceptional personal skills. Yeah. And I've actually found a lot of the time, if you get people that are in like theatre or acting or dancing, I've had a lot of those across the years, they have really, really good people skills. some of my best, I mean, you probably know Alex Chapman.
Yeah.
You'll see him online.
Yeah.
He's an actor as well. But yeah, personality over everything. I remember I had this girl walk in once, and it was just the energy I felt from her, because it's the feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
If
definitely.
you don't get that feeling from somebody, it's like when I was young, like if somebody knocked at your door, you invite them in, you make them feel really welcome. You want to feel comfortable. So if I go by the feeling from that person. I don't really need to look at this. In fact, the only time I need to look at the CV, where did they work? It's not to see grades or anything like that.
Yeah.
I like to get the feeling from the person, whether I can kind of feel comfortable with them straight away.
Yeah. And that is a feeling, isn't it? Yeah. It's hard to define it. You can't write that on a CV. People write, there's such clear, like buzzwords in a profile statement on a CV, like personable and whatever, but until you're stood opposite someone having a conversation, you get a sense of how that person's going to make you feel.
Yeah.
So that's great. So you hire on character over experience and skill set. How do you keep them though? Because one thing, getting them in the door. I know I revert back to my dad a lot, but obviously tried to teach me a lot of things. But my dad was like the Gordon Ramsay type. I would love my dad. I could never be an employee because he's so straight down the middle and harsh. Yeah.
I don't know. I would never treat a staff member how I wouldn't treat them like shit. I just, I'm fair. And I try and create, I think the staff morale is one thing that you have to try and keep up. Like, don't be really stingy, be generous. Like, I see myself as quite a generous person, and I just look after them. And I give them a reason. I try and create, I'm not perfect, by the way. I'm not saying I'm the perfect boss, because, we all have days when we're like moody or whatever, but like, I try and create an environment where they wouldn't want to go and work somewhere else. Yeah. I'd want them to think, I could go and get another job, but I'm not going to have it as easy. I've got it with Hamid. Yeah. Like in the early days, Dan would be like, look, you're too soft. But as I've got older, I'd be like, I know when to be harsh and strict, but I also know that a lot of the time they're all human at the same time. It's just, to me, it comes second nature just to be a nice person. Like, it's not that hard.
Do you know what? I think it's a worthwhile question to have asked, only because other people will be listening into this. Maybe they're on the cusp of starting their own business or their own brand, whether it's hospitality or not, and they know they're going to have to hire people later down the line. But that comes with stress. I mean, you become a counsellor when you start hiring people. You become a school teacher when you start hiring people. Sometimes my experience of managing and leading is that you become someone that you don't like all the time. Not to say that's always the case, but you can slip into that.
Yeah.
And I think... just understanding that the people you hire are also humans. Yeah. They also can have bad days. You can't write them off because of that, I think is really important. You said on your form that you went out to the States and you had an experience that started to shape how you helped train and develop your staff as well. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Yeah,
so I've always loved hospitality, like looking after people. But when I went to the States for, I think it was about a month in September, and tip culture out there is huge. Like, you have to, there's an option for like tip on like getting a takeaway coffee. I don't agree with that. Right. But my overall experience, I think it's 20% minimum. And I was like taken back by how good the service was. But Chick-fil-A, which is a US fast food restaurant. Have you heard of it?
I have.
You have, yeah. So they are per restaurant, they're more successful than McDonald's and KFC per restaurant.
Right, got you. Yeah.
So I think they started off with $1 billion in revenue, and they took that to 25 billion in 5 years. And I found this out after going, because I had the most incredible experience. Like, this is a fast food restaurant, it's usually like a youngster, like there's no smile or anything like that. And I think they're like a Christian, they call themselves like a Christian owned company, but I really respect it because they've got really strong values. Yeah. And the experience, I was like, this is insane. The service was just incredible. Like, I'm not just saying it, it was amazing.
I saw this on your form, and I know of Chick-fil-A, and it is straight away, I was like, fast food restaurant, like how good could it have been? But what specifically, just give me a couple of examples. What
the
was
manager, came up. So I was with my friend Sean, who lives there, and the manager came up to her. He was like, "Hey man, like I heard it's your first time at He went, "Look, I want to welcome you. It's so nice to have a newcomer here. Gave it like, try this shake or this iced coffee." And then there was this old lady in her 80s sweeping up, and she was just so sweet and beautiful. Like she was just, the conversations she was having, you just felt really welcome. But the food was nice, but it wasn't exceptional.
Something about the service elevated that experience, including the food. You probably walked out feeling it was a much better meal than maybe it was. You don't know.
No, I was like, I can't wait to come back here just for the experience. And I had to, I said to the old lady, "Look, just want to let you know your service was amazing today, by the way." Gave us like a few dollars or whatever. And then I learned about their company culture. And I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." So, and then obviously your algorithm changes on your Instagram, doesn't it?
Of course it does, yeah.
Because it listens to you. And then it started showing me all these videos, and I've started following a few of these guys who teach hospitality. I was like, "Oh, I'll try that. And I was putting like 110% effort into my job. And I was seeing like the conversations that I was having. I was like, not only is the experience better, but you actually enjoy your job a lot more.
Yeah.
Because people, it's having like more conversations. But yeah, no, it's exciting.
So where did Chick-fil-A, because you mentioned where they do their training, or it's the same place?
So they did all of their staff training with the Ritz-Carlton.
Right.
And everybody laughed at them.
Yeah.
I think they earn, per restaurant, they have the same revenue as KFC with 1/10 of the restaurants.
Really?
Yeah, and it's all based on the customer experience.
Right, okay.
Like they make it like they're obsessed with the customer experience. And that for me, I was like, I've got a really good starting point. So I'm just really happy with our team. Like they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Are we perfect? No, like sometimes I'm not very good at my job, but I think I'm so lucky to have an amazing team who put in a lot of effort. But for me, I just want to go that extra mile. So it kind of it inspired me to invest money in that area.
Yeah.
So we'll be starting with the company very soon just to help me train the staff in a more efficient way.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. You mentioned a focus on health and looking after yourself as a big part of, I guess, keeping yourself both mentally and physically fit to do the job that you're doing. You're a personal trainer for a time as well. Your brother, am I right, is still a
he still does it.
very well-known PT, and it's Samir?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hospitality and health and exercise and I guess giving yourself that time don't always come hand in hand.
No.
And maybe being successful means that you have to sacrifice part of that. So how do you get the balance right between that?
So at the start, there's no balance.
Right.
Because I think when you start a business, there's no such thing as balance. You have to earn your right for balance. So
that's a good way of putting it.
Be in the trenches for as long as possible. Once you've earned the right, then you can start to have a little bit of balance. I don't know, for me, I can't, if I was to have a week and not train and then work at the weekends, I get stressed out too quickly.
Right.
I think, again, I don't want to sound cheesy with it, but without training, I physically wouldn't have the confidence to do what I do.
Right.
Like I feel like it gives me like a level head. I think when you train, it gives you more self-belief, and you need that in business as well.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, just mentally, I don't know how people don't train and do everyday life, because for me, like if I don't do it, I'd feel like I'd go insane.
Yeah. I know my experience has been when I've dropped out of training mentally, it's easy to spiral and then get sucked down a kind of whirlpool of not training again, and it's harder to get out of that. But I think there is something to be said for just, whether you're training in whatever environment, just giving yourself that time for that bit of self-care, I think is really important. But I was wondering, I guess if you sacrifice training altogether, the business would suffer if I stopped training. Exactly, yeah. Because even though you could spend more time in the business, what does the you that is doing that even look like? How do you cope with that? It makes you feel
sharper.
Yeah.
Like, I know that if I am monitoring other businesses, my thing is like, okay, well, what are they doing? Like, that's wrong. I'm going to do the opposite. So I always train to I always train to like almost like have an edge. Like I don't just do it. I don't do it for aesthetics. I do it for how I feel. I want to have, and I just want to try and be on the top of my game. And I just know that I'm not. I become quite lazy when I don't train.
Right.
I'm already quite an unorganised person, hence why I've got Dan with me. I tend to just stick at the things that I'm good at.
Right.
And training is one of them. That helps me just keep like level head at work, to be honest.
I watched one of the videos you shared of that dynamic between you and your brother doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy that. Again, what's the age gap between you and Samir?
3 years.
3 years, yeah. So I was 18 months between me and my brother.
Yeah.
We never did, any of the fighting we did was never in a controlled environment. We just used to fight because we were 18 months apart and beat the shit out of each other. But I just love that dynamic between you and your brother exists. Yeah. And I think that must be quite grounding as well to have that support from your family around you, but especially with a brother so close in age, to be able to go and share maybe some of what's happened during your day, but also to have that ability to get on a mat and just do something where you can completely immerse yourself in that.
It's humbling. It's something that he can beat me at because I'm not very good.
Who's older?
Me. Yeah, I'm
You're
3
older.
years older.
How does that feel? Because my brother, similarly, there's lots that he can beat me at and I struggle.
There was no competition between us. We're just very like, we haven't even had a fight since I was probably like 11, 12.
Nice. Okay.
So there's never, that type of competition doesn't exist between us.
Brilliant.
Like we've got a really good relationship.
Yeah, I wish I could say my relationship with my brother was that healthy, but it's definitely not. Okay, I'm going to ask you for a bit of advice now.
Okay.
Hamid, what advice would you give to someone who's had a setback or a failure in business?
I would, straight away, I'd say is just look at it as a learning curve. I think don't overwhelm yourself with the problem. Like I've been through a million problems with work, and at the time it always feels like the world's literally fallen on your shoulders and it's horrendous, but it's never as bad as you actually think. As soon as you just take some action and start learning from it, it's weird. Like I almost get not excited about a problem. I never let it like get me down. Like I stay quite grounded, but next time that problem comes around, you're fully equipped to handle it. And if you want to go into business and not make any mistakes, don't go into business, because that is literally what business is about. It's about problems. That's it. But yeah, problems they're only bad in the moment.
Yeah.
I think just
it's impermanent, isn't it? Anything
exactly.
like that stress or how you feel in any given moment is not going to last forever.
Yeah. And I've had it, and then the problems have started to arise later, and then it's all of a sudden it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So it's actually that's actually made me a bit stronger.
Yeah.
You know, we know next time the next venture we do, we know we're so well equipped with so many things that any of those mistakes we made before will never ever happen again.
Yeah.
But we will be presented with other problems.
The problems will evolve.
Yeah, exactly. So, don't stress.
No, that's great. No, I love that. I do think, again, it can sound quite glib, that advice sometimes. Just take it as a learning moment. Take it as something that you're gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be something that you grow from. But it's also the truth. When you're at the bottom of the trench, looking up, going, "How the fuck do I get out of this?" It's hard to see that. But
I'd actually say, and on top of it, I'd say pivot really quickly.
Okay.
Don't sit on it for too long, because that's a position I've been in. Like, we were in a position before we made the move, we were like close to like losing everything. Like we would have lost both leases, but because we were like kind of level headed and we just pivoted really quickly, restructured things, and we were like, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
Yeah.
But pivot quickly and don't sit around.
Yeah. And that's great advice that you can now give through that lived experience. But previously, if you hadn't hit that hurdle, you've never got that. So in the moment, it can feel big and scary, but you've learned from that, and that allows you to now be informed enough to go, right, you can do that quickly next time it happens.
Definitely. And you can feel it when you start having these conversations again, or you're dealing with a particular person, you're like, wow, I didn't feel nervous in that conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I had that conversation a few years ago, I'd been like,
you're just at your depth, aren't you, as well?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's great. Hamid, do you want to play a game?
Go for it.
Yeah? You ready for a game? Right, okay. So this one I've kept nice and simple. So basically, it's just a quick game of complete the sentence.
Okay.
So I'm going to start a sentence for you. I'm going to ask you to complete the sentence. It can be more than one word, so you can finish it off. But the goal is to try and keep this quick. Ish. And
I'm not good at games.
This is the art of the edit, Hamid. So don't think about it too much. But we're going to start. There's 10 of these, and we're going to get through it together. My games are always shit, but we'll try it. Okay. Success is
whatever you want it to be.
See, that's good. That has actually worked out a really profound answer. Brunch Co is
a hub for the community of Leigh.
I like that as well.
And for a place where you can feel at home and get treated well.
Amazing.
And see familiar faces and socialise.
Brilliant. Hospitality
isn't just in restaurants. Like for me, hospitality is literally someone could be knocking at your door and the conversation that you have. Hospitality is like I think how you look after somebody.
Yeah.
It's literally being at service for somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not just there to like put a plate of food down, or you're not whatever job it is that you do. You are at service for your guest.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how
money
is a tool.
Okay, like that one. You feel like you had that one in a locker. Pressure is
a good thing because it helps you. Without pressure, you can't evolve.
Okay. These are getting. I feel like you're finding your flow now. We're gonna smash out the last 5. Burnout
is you're working too hard. Well, no, burnout. You need to spend time by yourself and do your own, whether that's training or.
Have you ever burnt out?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
And did that work for you, having that time?
Yeah, you just forget that you can't work 7 days a week. You just have to sometimes even if it's just one day away from work, just to maybe go for a walk, not speak to. I find like being on your own, like not being around anybody.
Well, when you're in your industry as well, hospitality, especially when you're front of house and you have to be having those conversations, I guess just the noise in your own head is quite a healthy place to be sometimes. Yeah. Okay. Leadership is
leading by example.
Okay. Love that. Growth isn't an option. You have to grow. Without growth, like you won't get any enjoyment out of life, and that doesn't have to be with money. That could be like health, relationships, just a growth in any area of your life. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Failure is
part of the process.
I love that. Okay. This is the last one. Enough is.
I don't think is there ever enough. Personally,
see, this is a question I keep asking.
It's a bit controversial, but
I don't think it is. I think for a lot of our guests, I ask them to define what enough is. It may be a more direct question to say, what's enough for you?
Yeah.
And I think everyone struggles with it. I don't think anyone's ever given me a clear answer to what enough looks like, because we're all doing what we do because we haven't found it yet, and we all want to push on and keep going. Enough. Maybe enough doesn't exist. Maybe it's all the journey and we're just going to keep going until we find it. But
I think you always want, it comes under growth a little bit. Like you naturally want more.
Yeah. Is it more that we want?
Sometimes it could be less, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think for me, like with the podcast, I think, what am I in search of? I guess, more meaning, more purpose, something there. I think more can sometimes you go straight to attach that to material things, which isn't necessarily what we mean by that. But I think we're in pursuit of something. I just don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
So I think enough, being able to define that is really, really tough. I think it's also really helpful because it allows you to give yourself a pat on the back when you've reached it. Mm-hmm. But there's something about people that run their own business that means they don't have that definition in place. The ceiling's not there, so they just keep going.
Yeah, I I don't know. Everyone's different. I think it depends on it's relative to the person. I think some people are like, do you know what? I'm happy with just this, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
If that works for you, then great. But
I think getting to a point where you're content, I think is a really lovely thing. And I have struggled. I'm content in lots of areas in my life, but business and what I do and finding a pursuit, I'm still in search of that. Like the podcast it would tick so many of those boxes for me, because I feel like I'm a curious person, so I like sitting opposite people and having conversations. I like to support local businesses and people that are doing cool things locally, so it checks that box as well. But yeah, we are in pursuit of something, and I think it
keeps you alive, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. You stagnate otherwise, right?
I don't know if it's like when somebody retires, like you've always got to have something. And I do feel like it is a little, and I do feel it's a little bit different for men. I don't know. I feel like we always need to like be working on something, and it doesn't have to mean it's like to earn money.
Yeah,
you just got to work on something, and it could be one day a week. But
yeah, I definitely find the men in my life that have retired, they are the ones that struggle post-retirement with that abundance of time that they now have. Like, what do they do with that? So if you don't have those pursuits, I don't think it's inaccurate to say that.
Because it's not about money.
Yeah.
Because I've had friends that have sold companies for a lot of money, like a few million, and they say to me like, I was actually a bit depressed.
Yeah.
Because I was so used to having the energy of building my team and coming in every day, and I feel that now. Like I wouldn't actually sell brunch now, even for a decent amount, because I'd be so like, I love getting up in the morning and seeing the staff, having a coffee, and just genuinely enjoy like building a team.
Yeah, that's an amazing place
and having
to be.
that camaraderie. Like it's fun. It's exciting.
And you've created that for yourself, which is so cool. When you think you've built that out of nothing, out of an idea, out of an inspired moment that you had to try and bring something different to Leigh.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely incredible. So congratulations to you and the team and everyone that's been involved in that journey, because you built something incredibly special. So I hope, and I'm sure it will continue to grow and be a success. We've got a closing tradition on the podcast, Hamid.
Okay.
It's a question from my mum.
Okay.
So yeah, no one gets out of this one. So let me find it on my phone. I'm going to play it down the phone. Oh God, I've got a few files here. Let's hope I've pressed the right one. Okay.
Hi Hamid. With so much competition in Leigh from other restaurants, how do you manage to stay ahead of the game and yet retain your authenticity? Thanks very much.
My mum's name's Lisa.
I recognise her voice. Does she come into brunch?
I don't know if she does, to be honest with you. She's on the podcast every week.
Okay.
But yeah, so we've touched upon that a little bit, but maybe the question I gave to you was more around how do you stop getting fixated on competition, but how do you stay?
Yeah, I love that question because I know how to answer. Yeah, so to answer the question, I'd say you have to utilise what you've got, but nobody else has, and that's personality. So like, it doesn't matter who opens up in Leigh. In my mind, I'll always be, no one has our personalities, which is why we're pushing so hard with Abby at the moment, because the more you can show your personality, and I don't mean just me, like you're going to see a lot more of the staff being shown. It's so individual that it can't be replicated. Yeah. And I actually feel that the food isn't the number one. Like I feel like the experience and the people comes first, because that's why we have repeat customers. And yeah, nobody can be you. So I was like, let's show people as much personality as possible. And if you go onto our Instagram, we haven't posted one bit of food content since October.
Yeah, I love that.
Because for me, my aim is the more we put personality, it creates trust with people that have never been. And what's really, really excited me is the reaction I've seen from customers. So I feel the energy from customers. So they'll come in and they'll chat to me like they know me, but I've never seen them in my life. And I love it, because it's like they've seen videos and they trust me straight away. Yeah. And that's the same, like Archie did a really cool video the other day and he got 17,000 views.
Nice.
Loads of people commenting how much they love him. And I'm like, nobody else is doing this.
Yeah.
But everyone can do it, but it will be individual to them. So that's kind of my goal at the minute, is to get as much personality out there as possible. And that kind of, I feel like that sets us apart a lot.
I love it. I think it's a fantastic idea. And just to shout Abby out as well as a previous guest, I think her take on authenticity and showing the human side behind brands, I think obviously has worked really nice with that vision that you've got. But what a person to be taking you forward with that journey too. She's fantastic.
Yeah, that is the main reason I went with her. Isn't just because of her work, it's her personality. Like, she's just super cool. She's really individual, and I get on well with her, and I can't work with people that I don't gel with.
Will she be coming in to DJ at any point in the future?
I've already asked her, Okay. So I'm just waiting for her to give me some cost, and then we'll book her in.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Do you know what? Even when she DJs, I'm like, she's so cool. Like, she's got a really cool energy about her, and that comes out in her work as well. So
that's fantastic. Hamid, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
It's been an
Thanks
absolute pleasure. And again, I just wish you every success in the world, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well done, mate. I'm so sorry it started getting cold in here.